Hello, everybody. My name is Snippy Snails, and I am 19 years old, turning 22 years old this year. And I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Now, I know that, your 20s are, still experiencing your life, figuring out what you want to do. But ever since I was a kid, I always knew that I wanted to create. I always knew I wanted to be something big. I always knew I wanted to be something and somebody that thousands, millions of people would know. And it's a pretty big high standard to hold to yourself at such a young age. You know, I mean, of course you wanna think what's best for yourself, but to put so much pressure on you can severely destroy the mind when you don't get that. You know what I'm saying? When you don't see the same success you try to put yourself up to, start making you frustrated. Start making you wonder, what the fuck am I doing in my life? What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? What do I have to do to make things right? You know, not to be selfish, but I feel like I've done a lot in my creations. Like recently I just started YouTube for like a year, and I feel like I've been putting in like real good quality videos. I mean, I make my own soundtrack to them. I edit everything. I make my own thumbnails. I go to the places myself and record them. I do everything myself. That's what's always been with like art. I draw all the stuff by myself, and my music. I produce everything myself. Everything I've ever done in my life, I've done myself, and it's kind of fucked up thinking about that, because it's like if I've done everything myself my whole life, music, art, YouTube, etc., then it makes me wonder, what am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm doing all this by myself, then without any you know recognition that I want, then what am I doing wrong? And with those kind of thought patterns, it's very dangerous because it could just lead to more stress and leading to more frustration. Because all I ever wanted as a child was just to create. But to create under the pressure of the whole world, thinking you have to make it or break it, destroys creativity, it destroys passion, it destroys art. And it makes creations or anything very flat. Because you put so much pressure, you squish it, so it's nothing left but a shadow of itself. And so, you know, it's just like, I've my predicaments lately. Because I know in the beginning of the year, I set a goal for myself that I wanted at least, I think, 500 or 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And so in the middle of this year, and I feel like I produced my best content ever. I feel like every couple of videos I come out with has been my best. I feel like I only get better with time with my videos. Like I put so much care into them. I put so much into them. Like I said, I do this all myself. And my subscriber count hasn't gone up in like months. The only time it does go up is when I center it around something else, like another artist or another thing. And it feels like, well, if people aren't that excited to see me, then what's wrong with me? You know? And yeah. But like I said, those thoughts are very dangerous to have. But I can't, not pretend I don't have those thoughts. Of course I'm human. I'm gonna have a variety of thoughts. I'm gonna have so many different opinions about myself and other people that sometimes they even contradict themselves. Sometimes they're too much. Sometimes they're not enough. Sometimes they're losing a perspective. Sometimes they're losing this or that. Sometimes, it's never an answer. That's what I find myself in. I keep giving myself all these tasks, all these responsibilities, all these, you know, potential. And it's all unrealistic, and it's all, leaving out an answer. Because, even if I do reach the mountaintop, what's next? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if my goal was to reach millions of people in the world, what do you do after that? I think sometimes when people get famous, people get big, they forget about the time where they weren't, and when they were just hustling and trying to make a name for themselves, and they put so much effort into it. And then when they get to the top, it's like they stop making that effort. And sometimes I get so frustrated because I'm like, well, I'm doing the same shit as these guys. Why aren't I at the top? But, sometimes I just gotta remind myself that, it's the effort that counts, you know what I'm saying? And, you just gotta keep trying. And it's so hard because it's like, because I look up to so many different people. I look up to X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, why? And I see some similarities in their life, and I'm like, why isn't my life doing the same thing as them? You know what I'm saying? Like, my people who influence me have influences who have influences who have influences. And the person who I'm influenced by get influenced by that person. And then it seems like they're following their life, so I follow their life, and then it's not working out for me. You know? But yeah, I know that was a whole lot to take into. I know it was like one after the other, and maybe I didn't make sense, but that's the type of thoughts I be having whenever I create, and publish things to the world, because that's what I'm doing with art, with music, with videos. I'm making them for the world to see. And so much goes into my head about what the world will think about it. That's so much. And at the end of the day, makes me feel like, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? What is the end goal? What are the answers to all these questions? And it just leaves me with more questions than answers. And it leaves me lost. And it leaves me stressed. When at the end of the day, all I want to do is create. As a kid, I just created without giving a fuck. I made stories without giving a fuck about what another person thought. Now, I give too much of a fuck. And the reason why I came on here and made this video is just to remind every creative, even to remind myself. I made this video to remind people, but I also made it most importantly for myself. To remind people, when you're an artist of any kind, sometimes you give too much fuck about, other people, when most importantly, we should give a fuck about what we think about art. And if what we're making is, in our opinion, the best we've ever made in our lives, then what else matters? I mean, to me, that's been the hardest thing trying to handle. It's like, no, it needs to be the best thing for everybody in the world. That's just something I'm gonna have to accept one of these days, but I'm not there yet. And I'm getting there step by step. The same way I'm getting to recognition step by step. I'm learning. I'm learning with music. I'm learning with art. Every day I learn more. And maybe it's a sign of maybe I have to learn so much in order to even be considered at the top. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I have to just learn so much that when I get to the top, it will be for certain that I've made the best I possibly can out of whatever I'm creating. And even when you get to the top, you still have so much to go. I mean, is there even a top? I mean, that's just life right there. Is there the only end for certain is death, but you never know when that's gonna come. And so, if you get to the top of the mountain before you die, that's just, pre-death right there. Because if you're not constantly moving, then you've already killed yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so, trying to come up with graphs to, I still have more to go before I reach a point I want to go to. And I feel like I've done so much. But maybe there's more I need to do. That's why I feel lost. But then, it just gives me more hope, realizing that I might have more learning to do. It's never ending struggle, but never ending, learning. That's something I have to remind myself. And I hope this video helps other people out there too. Because I struggle with this a lot. And, yeah. That's really what I want to talk about this video. I'm 19 years old, and I wanted so much more by now. By now, I wanted to be known by millions. And I'm not, and it frustrates me. But it shouldn't. Because I should remember everything happens for a reason. And the reason why I'm not to a certain place right now is because I still need more learning. And so I'll continue to learn. I'll continue to master my craft until one day I have become so masterful of what I made that I teach a new generation how to, get it how I did, but also, most importantly, get it how they can do it. But, yeah, it's 3 a.m. and I'm having an existential crisis, and I'm recording it for the internet. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. But, I know, I just get so many thoughts in my head. It's either therapy or I'll make a video about it. Either or, and therapy is not till another couple of weeks. So y'all gotta suffer. But people who did listen, thank you so much. And, those are my thoughts for now. I'll let you know when, I get some more. Peace.